Hello, my name is Darren Thomas and I am the Director of Educational Research Techniques. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at how to multiply binomials. So let's go ahead and get started. So imagine, or I guess you don't have to imagine, you're going to see it. Let's say I have the following two binomials. By binomial, we just mean two terms. All right, that's what we mean here. So we got x plus 4 and we got x plus 8. That's what it is. So the reason this is binomial is because we have the x and then we have the 4. It's two separate terms. That's what it is. If you remember from a prior video, we talked about monomial. I'm just going to draw this real quick for an example, but we're not going to actually multiply this or anything. So for example, 4x squared, this is 1. This is one term because you're multiplying it. So in this example, we have separate terms because they're separated by a plus sign. That's kind of what's happening here. Excuse me. Now, when you want to multiply binomials, when you have these two terms inside the parentheses, if you will, you want to multiply these, there are two separate ways to do this. One is the distributive property way and the other one is the FOIL way. And so what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you how to solve this both ways. The one you ultimately pick is up to you. It really doesn't matter. You can argue about which is more efficient with someone else who cares about those kind of theoretical things. But we're just going to show you the two ways, at least the two ways, that this can be done. So with the distributive property, what you do is you distribute one of the two binomials that you might have. So what we're going to do now is we're going to distribute the x plus 4. And this is what it's going to look like when we distribute it. So what happens here is I put the x out here, and then I still have x plus 8. And then I'm going to do plus, and I'm going to put the 4 out here, and I'm going to have x plus 8. This is the same information that is captured above, but we have distributed the 4. We've distributed the first binomial by having it, multiply x plus 8 plus 4 times x plus 8, like so. And so when you do this now, it's not so crazy to try to figure out how to address things. So when we want to actually multiply these things, you have x times x is going to be x squared. And then you're going to have x times 8, which is going to be 8x. Plus 4 times x is going to be 4x. And then, of course, 4 times 8 is going to be 32. And then all we do now is we just kind of simplify things. So we combine like terms, which is going to be these two guys. And so the final answer is going to be x squared plus 12x, because 8 plus 4 is 12, plus 32. This would be our final answer. So you can see that this distributive property is great, works well, but it's not the only way to address this. Let's take a look at one more. So for this one, we're going to work with the same problem, x plus 4, x plus 8, like so. And now this time we're going to use something called FOIL. FOIL is an acronym that stands for first, outer, inner, and last. That's what happens. So let me see if I can make this clear. What you do is that first you multiply the first term inside the binomials here, inside the two binomials. So I'm just going to write a 1 on top to show you what I'm multiplying first. So first I'm going to multiply the x and the x. So when I do that, I get x squared. Again, not too crazy. Next for FOIL is going to be the outer. Outer means that now you're going to do the outer terms. So this time I'm going to use x again, but this is my second trip, if you will. And so then we do that. So when you do that, when you do the outers, it's going to be x times 8, which is going to be plus 8x. Then we're going to do the inner, which is right here. This will be my third one. This will be third time here. So this is kind of like the I. So 4 times x is going to be 4x. And then we do the last. That means the last term in each binomial. So this is going to be step number 4. This will be step number 4 right here. And so you see here, 4 times 8 is going to be 32. Now, of course, we have to simplify, and we already know the answer for that. It'll be x squared plus 12x plus 32. So this is kind of how it works. So let me just see if I can repeat that. So the F is going to be right here, first term, and then the O is going to be outer terms like this, and then the I is going to be the inner terms, so I, if you will, and then last, like so. However you want to think about it. Again, the point here is not to try to see that one is superior to the other or one is better than the other. That's a discussion for, mathematicians and PhD type people. But the point is that you have these two systems, these two ways that you are able to multiply binomials. So in this video, all we did was we looked at the two different ways that you can deal with multiplying binomials together. And so the first way we looked at was the distributive property, which is a basic property of algebra, in that when you're multiplying things together, you can distribute them and then deal with them separately. This is a very, very efficient way to do things quickly, if you will. And then of course the other system that we looked at was of course FOIL, which just involves having a certain order in which you multiply the individual terms inside each binomial. Again, there's nothing magical about the order when it comes to FOIL, but when you have a prescribed order, it prevents you from making mistakes. I mean, we could have multiplied 8 and 4 together first. It doesn't really matter, but the point is that by having a prescribed order, it prevents you from making mistakes. And also the acronym FOIL is easy to use, which is probably another reason why this particular order is commonly used when trying to multiply the terms. So, my name is Darren Thomas. I am the Director of Educational Research Techniques. Take care.